Recording is about to start. Hey, yes, so recording has started. Once again, just a quick disclaimer. This call is being recorded and we place our recording on our YouTube channel. So if you're not comfortable with that, you can drop off now. And with that, I will request that if you are not asking questions, please mute your phones. Really appreciate it. And so our topic of discussion today is Azure Communication Services update. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off um, captioning. Let's see. Let's leave it on. Okay. So, I mean, time flies. I remember a few months back, we talked about Azure Communication Services when they were just launched. And now we are talking about some of the exciting updates in Azure Communication Services. So, in our agenda today, some of the things that we're going to cover is Teams interoperability. Second one, SMS integration. And the third one, UI library for developers. So, and of course, we will do a demo and Q&A. That goes without saying. Um, so first of all, just like we always do, we want to do a quick level set on what Azure Communication Services is. So Azure Communication Services is Microsoft platform service to provide end-to-end connected user experiences. So you can write application and you can build voice, video, chat, SMS experiences in that. So that's the goal of this platform is. Um, quickly, this is um, this is kind of the foundation. So this is the foundation on which Microsoft Teams and customer service experiences powered by Dynamics 365 they're built on, and now this is available for you to build your custom apps on. Okay, so that's the main goal of uh, of this service. One thing to keep in mind, and I just want to emphasize this, and for some reason, people have asked me questions on that. Do you need Teams to have use Azure Communication Services? Not at all. You just need an Azure Communication Services resource created in Azure. That's it. That's all you need. You don't need Teams. Yes, it can interop with Teams. So let's say that you have that you are have Teams client that you need to connect to. It can do that, but you don't need Teams to have your application to make your application work. Okay, so this is very important to point to note. Okay, with that, here are the core services that it provides. Of course, um, voice and voice and chat and SMS telephony. I mean, it can integrate with your legacy telephone systems as well. So you can basically connect to a Teams, just like you connect to a Teams call with phone. It allows you to connect to your Azure Communication Services experiences through phone as well. So that's and vice versa. Moving on. So first thing is the important thing is team interoperability. When this service was launched, it wasn't there. Then it arrives in public preview and it is now in GA. Just keep in mind um, that this feature that is in GA, there are multiple ways you can, you can implement that. So think of it this way. Let's say that you have teams in your organization and you are building a custom application or a custom experience, but team doesn't have support for that, or the team basically the way you want to do it, Teams UI doesn't support that. So you create your own UI. What you can do is you can create your own UI on top of Teams and allow people to connect to it. In that case, they will be using your own uh, user in your own organization, and they will be connecting to it using their Teams ID or Azure AD. So that's one way of connecting. This is called using Teams ID, or what we call Azure AD, which is behind the scene powering Teams identification. Okay, so that's one way of thinking about it. Second one is, um, let's say you have anonymous users and they want to connect. This is the experience where you have an e-commerce website or some sort of application. Your user, or let's say the e-commerce user, he submitted an order and he is having some issues. He want to talk to a customer service rep. In that case, they can come to the site and they can basically start a chat, and that rep will be can be in Teams. And on the other hand, you are um, uh, basically you're talking to that individual in through Teams, and that user is using that custom experience from the website. So he owns the website. Anonymous user doesn't have to be signed into Teams. So these are the two ways you can connect to it. Okay. As far as I know, bring your own identity is currently in public preview. Okay. While the Teams ID is GA. Okay. With that, any questions? Okay. So here is a quick breakdown of what feature and features are supported with each and what capability each model provides. Just differentiate it in this way. You have your uh, people in your organization, they want a custom experience, connected experience that cannot be supported through Teams. You use Azure Communication Services to write that experience, to build that experience where there may be kind of workflows and things like that. And those users sign into that experience using Azure AD. That's called what we call Teams identification. Teams using Teams identity for Teams interoperability. On the other hand, if those users are not from the organization, they're non-team users, maybe just customers. This is B2C kind of scenario, business to consumer. That's where you will use bring your own identity. Okay, and just to clarify a few things here in regards to when you are using the bring your own identity experience right now, a a user cannot start a Teams conversation. So they can participate in it with by bring your own identity, but they cannot start a Teams conversation. So this is a very important thing to keep in mind at the moment. It may change in the future. We don't know. But at the moment, right, they cannot do that. Okay. Um, any questions?
I have a question. Um,
Please go ahead.
do you have additional information under bring your own identity model that supports that custom asterisk? My assumption is those are other protocols that are supported by this. Is there kind of another item that would list those additional protocols?
No, not that I know of. I mean,
Okay,
at this
thank.
point, we're just talking about just the identity part of it, focusing so yeah, I'm not aware of it.
Okay.
Um, sorry, man. Any other questions, folks? Okay, doke. So let's move on. Okay, let's do a quick demo. So here is what I have. And folks, you have to forgive me. Um, I have to juggle between two screens. So I have a remote desktop into a VM in my lab, and that has a Teams instance running. And this is not the corporate Teams instance. This is a Teams instance that I have. I'm using MSDN developer, uh, Office developer account. Long story short, so I'm gonna start a Teams meeting here. I'm gonna call it Azure Power Lunch, and let's get a link to this share. It's going to give us a link, and let's start the meeting. So now we have a Teams meeting running here, and I'm going to join it. It's going to give me, hey, you don't have audio, video. That's okay. We are at the moment, we are not interested in that. So we started the meeting. Let's open the chat window. Okay. On the other hand, on my machine, I have the machine that we are doing demo on. I have a simple. Okay, let me just bring that here. Sorry, it's on a different screen. Come on. Okay, I have a simple Node.js application. I am using Azure Communication Services Node.js SDK. By the way, it's available in C Sharp, Java, Python. So that's what I'm using. I'm using Node.js just to show that it's not something Microsoft specific. I could have used C Sharp as well. Love C Sharp, but I'm just showing it. So this is basically a very simple UI that it's going to create. And this is the connection string. I'm doing my own authentication. Basically, this app doesn't have any authentication. It's just using, so think of it, somebody built this app, and by the way, this is a demo. That's why we are using the connection string. And you're gonna ask me where you got this connection string. So I have where is my communication services client? Let's go in here. This is my communication services client, and this is the keys, and that's where I'm getting it. And yeah, don't think of copying it. I'm gonna be deleting this thing as soon as I'm done with the demo. So anyways, so that's where you will get the connection string, and this is your communication services URL. So these are the two things you will need this demo. And just keep in mind, I am this is the demo that is available as a part of the quick start. So you don't have to wait for me to upload any code. I have links in the end in this document so you can get that. Okay, with that, with all of it there, what I'm going to do is this is the command prompt, and I am going to start this service or start this application. So once this application is started, let me just give me 1 second. Let me just copy paste. Let's access this application. Give me 1 second. Okay, where did it go? Yeah, let's copy this URL. Okay, I have copied this, and I'm going to go into this browser, paste it here. Okay, so it needs a team link and chat thread ID, these two things. This is what we have in the notepad. That's why I have the notepad here. This is the meeting link. The chat thread ID is there as well, and we are going to copy that as well. And this, you just paste the meeting link here, and then you go in here and get the chat thread ID. Chat thread ID is basically this link. So we just get it. We just need to remove this kind of a URL encoding stuff. This is that, and this is this, and here we go. Let's copy it and let's paste it here, and let's call it, it says connecting. Okay, if we go in here, it says in the lobby. So this is the state. So let's go into our kind of that remote desktop, and it says, yeah, admit. So we are admitting that. And if you are paying attention to the screen, you will say the call state is connected. So now we have both the parties are in the chat. I'm going to say hello, and you will see this here. So basically, just a few lines of code, and we are able to communicate from a communication services client to a Teams meeting. And I'm just showing I just kind of scratch the surface. I mean, you can have very elaborate experiences using video and chat and all of that. So this is just showing how this connectivity will work. Okay. Ideally, what you should do is you should use some sort of a function which hides the authentication, creates the token for you. There is a sample there that shows you how to do it. And then access that function from your application to get that token through managed identity or something to make sure that your connection string is not available in your code, just like I'm doing. Just keep in mind, this is just a demo. You should never do this in production. So I just want to kind of clarify that. Okay. So with that, let's look at another example that I have here. Let me go into this here, and let me go into resource groups and types. I have another app that you can use. For example, yeah, this is the one. Okay, and this is basically a kind of a chat app. This is not using Teams at all, and you can start chat. And we will take a look at this experience in a second. Sorry, I'm thinking I'm jumping a bit ahead. So let's go back to our presentation. Let's go into the SMS integration. So the second thing that is now supported is availability to send and receive SMS. So what you can do is you can send SMS from, and by the way, let's say that you just need to send SMS from your app. You don't have to use anything else. You can just use that capability from communication services client. You can get a number and start sending and receiving SMS. So basically, you can send SMS, and of course, you can receive them as well. You can have a bot that is sitting there which can respond to, like, providing automatic customer service, responding to customer service surveys. Like, I know, I mean, I have like some of the sites when kind of you come back, like after auto service or something, they send you a text and then you respond to it, and that's kind of a experience that you can build to it, and where you can provide survey, you can provide feedback, it can ask some questions and things like that. Okay, so that's that capability. Let's take a look at that, how it's available. So let's go into our communication services client. um, so this is Azure Communication Services instance. Once again, you have the usual stuff, overview, things like that. We already looked at it. These are the keys, and these are temporary identities. So let's say that you need to use a user token for your app, and you are not comfortable using the keys. You can generate a token from here. Just click on generate, and it will generate a token, and it will be valid for a day. So you can use it for your app for the time being. Okay. And then once that expires, it expires. So there is no loss of, I mean, you kind of, um, you can, the risk of compromising your tenant is minimal. Okay. These are the phone numbers. Just keep in mind, you can get, um, give it a second. It's loading up the phone numbers. You can get phone numbers, so it will ask you details, and you can get phone numbers for SMS messaging. And then you can send SMS text from using those phone numbers. So basically, those will be used to send text. Okay. And I just want to show you a simple logic app example that I have. So let's go into this here. There is a logic app that I have created. Very simple logic app. Okay, let's edit it. I think I clicked on the wrong one. Let's click one more time. Yes, that's the one. So once again, you receive an HTTP request. It has two items, a message and a phone number. And then what you do is, this is the um, activity that you create. So let me just show you what activity that is. Let's type in communication services. Yes. Okay. Yes, that's the Azure Communication Services. It has one activity, send SMS, and that's where you go in. You get the phone number where you want to send that from, and it will pick that up. You can enter customer custom value as well, where what message you want to send, and then the recipient phone number and all that. And then that's how you build this activity. So very simple. You just need to have an Azure Communication Services instance created for it. And I'm just showing you, I mean, you can do it from the code. Of course, SDK have support for C Sharp, Node.js, Java, all of that. But I'm just showing that how you can do it from a logic app. Okay. So we have created that. So um, I have a advanced REST client that I'm going to use uh, to send a message. So this is the advanced REST client. I'm sending this message to my own phone number, and um, with that, you can send that message and it will tell you what is the status. So is it running the status, HTTPS status code 2? Just keep in mind, you have to provide the number in this format. Okay. For example, if I remove this and try to send it, it will say invalid to phone number format. Okay. It has to be in this format where you have the plus and then the country code and all that. Okay. Any questions? I know we have 6 more minutes. I just want to make sure there are no questions. Okay. So yes, I have received the text from that. Wish I can show it to you guys, but yes, the text is received. Um, so in the case, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna talk about um, it's the last topic is UI library. So for that, I am just gonna go show you what this is. So communication services team have created a UI library. These are basically React. If you're not familiar with it, React is a library where you can create UIs in Node.js, provides you modular UI. So this is built on top of React framework and it provides you components. So if you are looking to create those UI, the cross platform UI provides you those components, and there are two sets of those components. One are composites. Okay, composites are they are something like built-in modules which can let's take a preview. So this is you see this is kind of so basically this is kind of a experience where you know you can have all these controls and you can change things. So this is all of these things are that you can change the theming on. For example, if it's a dark theme, how it will look, and you can use custom themes and all that. So this is and you don't have to build all of these components part by part. And for example, there's a chat composite as well. Let's take a look at a preview. You know, so that's what it is, and you can change the theming, all of that. If you are not kind of don't want to use them, you want to build your own experiences, then you have these UI components. For example, these are more granular component. So for example, there is one for the video gallery. Okay, so this is how the video gallery look like. If you and so in the team experience, that's how the grid layout will look like. Horizontal gallery will look like that. This local video tiles. So these are different ways you can do it. You can do a quick preview and how that experience will look like. For example, um, once again, you can change themes, you can change language, change the text direction. So you can basically um, change different things and find out how the layout will work for you. For example, if it's default or floating, how the screen sharing experience will look like. So these are your individual controls. So you can pick these controls to create your experiences. Okay. So this is the UI library that is available. As I said, this is in React that you can use in your cross platform experiences. Okay. So with that, we have 2 minutes. Any questions before we do a quick recap? Okay. So a quick recap, we talked about Azure Communication Services and its ability to interop with um, with Teams, and there are two ways you can do that. One, using your own identification or anonymous as an anonymous user, or you can use team identity. In that case, it is Azure AD. Second, the SMS support is there. We looked at it. You can send text messages, you can receive text messages as well, and use um, event grid to respond to those events. So that's how that integration works. I'm sure. I'm sorry, I didn't have a demo for it, but that's how it will work. And then we talked about the UI library that is available for developers. It's a React-based library, a set of components that you can use to build your Azure Communication Services cross-platform application. So with that, thank you everyone for joining. If any question, we have 1 more minute, so just wanna check. Okay.
Nothing on the chat to be.
Thank you, thank you for writing the chat, man. And
Thank you,
thank you,
Navi.
thank you. Have a wonderful day, everyone. And once again, Happy New Year. Stay safe, folks. Have a great weekend.